idea. Thank you so much. Now please put hands together for Honorable Bonyo. Thank you. It's actually one of the two pillars by interacting with the people in government, and that you can see is building together once again. Thank you. Still in the movie next we say thank you.
Upon surveying. Thank you very much.
Once again, I'm sure we can do better than that. Thank you very much. Next, we would like to call on the representative of the Honorable Minister of the FCT, Muhammad Musa Bello, in person of Zaliha Ahmed, Director Urban and Regional Planning, FCDA, for her goodwill message. Please, let's put our hands together.
While she's on her way, may I use this opportunity to also inform us that we have in this hall who we call the first man of quantity surveying. I'm talking about the husband to Madam President. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Dr. Architect Philip Iyote, who is here. We appreciate you for releasing Madam to us for 2 years. We appreciate you. That's the first man of quantity surveying.
and aggregate economy. As the profession within the building industry and engineering construction sector of the economy concerned with the construction and procurement management from conception and close out of any construction project, I'm confident to say that the NIQS as a professional body will ensure that only thoroughbred professionals are accredited, registered, and eligible to practice and provide the best services in the built environment commensurate with international best practices. I hereby wish to seize this opportunity to call on the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors to ensure that the highest standard of professional practice is promoted and upheld at all times. It has become increasingly necessary for quantity surveyors to act constructively and credibly in the discharge of their duties in order to tackle challenges associated with city development and to promote the ideas of sustainable and equitable development. The government will be in a good position to drive constructive change in a positive direction when professionals like the NIQS will support the administration in its effort with relevant inputs and lead to realization of the administration's dream. Accordingly, the FCT administration will look forward to receiving a copy of the communique of your deliberations for its consideration in its policy formulation going forward. At this juncture, let me express my sincere appreciation to the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors once more. I wish you a fruitful deliberation and successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Moving forward, it is my pleasure to invite on stage the President, Africa Association of Quantity Surveyors, in the person of David Gaito, to give his goodwill message.
A special guest of honor, the chief host, Madam President, Mase, all protocols observed. Jambo. Jambo. Okay. The few people have been meeting know what Jambo means. Means, how are you from Kenya? Yeah? Yeah. I'm happy to be here. We normally come so many of us, but currently in Kenya we are busy with the politics. So I came on their behalf, but all is well. It's gonna end soon. So I want to thank you for the invitation. This is a great conference, and we are always learning from INIQS as one of the founder members of AAQS, which was conceived in 1995 and registered in 1999. We have been here before to Lagos, and as you heard, Mr. Segu Nigerian Koko has been occupying the seat I currently occupy as QS1 in Africa. Moving on, when I listened to the speech by Massey, by Humphrey, I'm able to skip, in the interest of time, much of what I wanted to say, because you can copy-paste, change Nigeria to Kenya, and it fits in very well, just with a few adjustments. So they have done it all for me. I just want to go to my parting shot, just to emphasize the importance of quantity surveyors. And I'm glad the countries I've gone to, we went to Kampala 2 weeks ago. We were well received by government here, Nigeria, Ghana, and Tanzania, at the level of vice president, and we really appreciate what they are seeing, the input of quantity surveyors. So, in the last meeting we had in Kampala, the chief guest said, the Nigerians who are there will remember this, the QS is not the sufficient, but the necessary. Yeah? And he's the head of planning, and he challenged the local institute to forward their bill, their budget, so that they will be funded by the government. I'm sure they have also had the government officers who are here. They should be able to fund NIQS so that such meetings can be successful. The second part, in short, is in the Bible. I think I've said this before, those who have listened to me. It says, always consult before starting to build, otherwise you will be a laughing stock. Which part of the Bible? Well done. Luke 14:28. And finally, this you must have seen in the papers a month ago. Foster and Partners have been sued for £3.6 billion. Did you see anyone who saw? Please just Google Foster and Partners. And a very good design without cost consultation. Yeah? Please Google Foster and Partners. With those few remarks, I want to wish NIQS a very successful conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Gaito. Can we please put our hands together once again to appreciate him, the president of African Association of Quantity Surveyors. All right, we need to quickly move because of the exigency of time. And we must appreciate the representative of His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for his patience, just like the President said, in spite of the pressure on him right now. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Madam President, at this point, it is right and proper to call on His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osibajo, SAN, GCON, for his address, represented by the Honorable Minister of State for the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing. I'm talking about Surveyor Suleiman Hassan Zama, MNIS. MNIS. Can we please appreciate him as he comes to the podium? Thank you so much for your patience, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Members of the National Assembly, the Governor of Kaduna State, ably represented the Minister, Federal Capital Territory Administration, ably represented Speaker of the Katsina State House of Assembly, President, Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, President or Chairman of the Board of Trustees, past presidents of the Institute, President of the Quantity Surveyors Registration Board, Presidents of associations from sister African nations, distinguished fellows of the Institute, allied professionals, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Professor Yemi Osibanjo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, send you his warm felicitations. Wish he could have been here himself, but for earlier scheduled engagements. I am here to convey his address to this August gathering. Mr. President, the Vice President's speech reads as follows. I am honored to have been invited as special guest of honor at this 27th BGM of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors. In choosing the theme for this conference, namely, developing the economy for sustainable growth, the construction industry as an effective stimulant, the NIQS has demonstrated its willingness to contribute its own quota to development efforts of this administration. I, therefore, commend the President and members of the Institute for responsibilities to contemporary issues relating to the governance of our beloved country. Economic development and the improvement of the infrastructure are prominent components of the change agenda of the administration of His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. To achieve this, government adopted the strategy of reversing the nation's debilitating dependence on crude oil. A few months into the life of this administration, it was vindicated by the plunge in global oil prices, which culminated in an economic recession. We have, however, surmounted this setback and succeeded in getting the economy out of recession and onto the path of sustainable growth through increased focus on other relevant but hitherto ignored sectors such as agriculture, solid minerals, manufacturing, transport, and by means of new fiscal and trade policies. However, one of the most effective strategies that government employed to drag the economy out of the woods happens to be its massive spending in the construction sector. The administration understands very well the critical role of the construction industry plays in a nation's industrial and economic development. Apart from providing houses for the citizens and roads to facilitate societal integration and movement of goods, the construction sector creates capital formation and wealth in the economy. By so doing, it generates higher multiplier effect and employment on a very large scale. Government, through the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing, accordingly launched the ongoing National Housing Program covering all the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory in 2016. Through this ministry, we also put in place a well-articulated program for the restoration of the nation's road network through improved funding. With hundreds of billions of naira already spent constructing new roads and rehabilitating hitherto dilapidated and abandoned ones. As a result of our increased spending in these areas, the massive debts owed to contractors are being settled, workers that were being laid off are being recalled, and the construction sites that were closed are being reopened. We have it on record that the payments made to 103 contractors, 103 construction companies executing 192 projects during the implementation of the 2016 budget resulted in the employment of 749 people directly and 52,000 people indirectly in works. And so far, this year, nearly 50 billion has been paid to 62 contractors working on 149 projects to continue work on roads and bridges and keep people at work. Similarly, payments are made to supervising consultants in the housing and power sectors of the ministry, respectively. This profound with key stakeholders like the professionals, contractors, and manufacturers to bring about the much desired transformation in the industry. I believe that our quantity surveyors, for example, do have a big role to play in finding solutions to the problem of high cost of construction projects in Nigeria. By bringing your expertise to bear on the costing and cost management of our projects, we can together achieve value for money and cost efficiency in our project implementation. Government will continue to patronize local contractors, and as I mentioned earlier, we will continue to pay contractors as and when due for work properly executed. We will, in addition, continue to encourage local production of construction materials. This administration has already taken concrete steps towards improving the environment of doing business in Nigeria with the setting up of the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council by His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, of which I am privileged to be the chairman. Our National Action Plan 2.0 encompasses not only infrastructural development, but also 75% in reduction in the time taken to register companies, business names, and premises, and 50% reduction in the time taken to fill corporate income taxes. Government also recently signed 11 executive orders aimed at easing business operations as well as prompting made in Nigerian products. Our efforts in the power sector have at present yielded a total of 7,000 megawatts of power generated and still counting. You can be rest assured that this administration will do everything within its power to enable the construction industry in Nigeria fulfill its potential as an effective stimulant in developing our economy for sustainable growth. As I conclude this address, let me thank the President and members of the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors for your goodwill and commitment to supporting government developmental efforts. I believe that the ideas that will be generated from the assemblage of resource persons, experts, and professionals in relevant fields will help our construction industry take its proper place in the nation's economy. We are therefore looking forward to receiving the communique of this conference. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor and pleasure to declare the 27th BGM of the NIQS open. I wish you fruitful deliberations. Thank you, and God bless you all.
With a standing ovation, can we please